Hi guys! So today we are going to be making mail-a-hugs, or a hug that you can send in the mail, I guess is probably the better way to say this. I know that COVID, of course, if you're social distancing, you don't get to see the people that you normally want to see right now, or if you do get to see them, you don't get to touch them, you guys stay away from them. So, this is just a fun way to send some love in the mail to those who you're missing right now. And it's really easy and a fun craft to do. And I'm sure whoever you end up sending it to is gonna love it. So, for this craft, you're gonna need some scissors, some paper, some tape. If you have bigger paper, it is a little bit better because then you don't have to use as much or cut as much. But I just have printer paper, so I'm just going to be using printer paper. Something to trace yourself with, and then, of course, some stuff to decorate with. So, to get started, I'm going to go ahead and you're going to want a decent amount of paper. I have a little stack here because what you're going to be doing is tracing your whole arm span. So you're going to lay down with your arms spread out, and you're going to be traced. So on this paper, obviously my arms aren't this long, so we're going to have to tape a couple pieces together to make sure. But also, my arms aren't this wide. So I think what I'm going to do is cut some of these in half just to use a little bit less paper, and that way I can get more length out of a single sheet. So this is now in half. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other way. And the way I'm gonna show you includes your head, but if you want a little bit of an easier way, you can just trace your hands like this. So I could fit both my hands on a piece of paper and cut them out, and then just measure arm to arm and just cut out a big strip rather than like tracing your whole body, or not your whole body, but like your upper body. I'll show you guys that in a bit. But if you want something even simpler than this simple craft, that is a way that you can do this. And I will state again, you could just do this method for your whole body and just tape together. Like if you're a little kid, you could probably get this in 6 or 8 sheets, I think. I'm doing it with 2 and 2 and then out, or even flipping it so that this is the long edge. That probably would be a little bit better. But if you're a little bit of a bigger kid, or if you don't want to have to cut out and use so much paper, then you can try the way I'm doing. But taping together the other way is much easier to do, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and tear this. I think I'm gonna do 2 of these, one for each arm. Boop. Okay, so we got one arm, and of course you don't have to do this step. You could just tape together full sheets of paper, but especially if you're a littler kid with littler arms, I would suggest doing it this way so that you can save a little bit of paper. But that is totally up to you. Because even me, like, my arm fills almost half of it. And for my hands, I'm going to have to do a full sheet to make sure that my hands are all in there. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and tear this one. I think I did not grab enough paper. I'll have to go grab some more in a sec. Okay, thank you. So we now have arm pieces. How big? Could I fit both? Sure. I'm gonna stress it and try and get both hands from a single piece of paper, so I'm gonna cut it in half the other way rather than what I did for my arms. Again, you totally don't need to do this. If you want to make sure you have lots of room to trace and such, just tape together full sheets of paper. But I forgot to grab enough paper, and I don't feel like using a bunch of paper today, so I'm gonna make do with what I got. I'm also, I've been tearing these. You could totally just cut these with scissors. I just prefer to tear my paper instead of cut it. Okay. I'm gonna go grab a couple more sheets of paper because I think I'll need 2 for my torso and at least 1 for my head. So I think I'll probably grab 3 more sheets. So I have 2 for my torso and 2 for my head just to make sure. And I will be right back once. Just got back from getting my extra pieces of paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and get taping these together. So the tape job, if you haven't cut any, it's real easy, because you're just going to be taping sheets of paper together. But if you're doing it like me, there is a little more thought going into it. So first, let's go ahead and tape together the torso. I'm going to place these off to the side. And 2 for my head. So, okay. We got 2 pieces for my torso, or my chest. And we're just going to take a little bit of tape, and this is probably going to be the back, so that our front, when we color and decorate it, looks all nice. But we're just going to put a couple pieces of tape. And 3, 2, and 3. And now we have our torso put together, or we have a big piece of paper for our torso or chest. Such fun words. So now we're gonna add, here, I'm gonna tape together my arms real fast. So if you're doing arms like I am, we're gonna go ahead and tape together. I think I'm gonna do 2 little pieces, or you could just do 1 big piece. Okay, so we got 1, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a hand on the end here. So on the hand, you just want to make sure that it's centered, because you know your hand is in the middle of your wrist, so it should be in the middle. Boop. So we're just going to do 1 piece of tape, because most of this part is going to get cut off, so I think we'll be okay with just 1. So now we have 1 arm. I'm going to go ahead and fold that up, and we'll do our other arm now. So again, we're just going to line these up so they're even, and take some tape. And if you have bigger pieces of paper, or like butcher paper on the big roll, that's even easier. All you have to do is roll out a piece big enough for you to lay on top of. Although I don't think many people have that. But if you do have it, that is the absolute easiest way to do this. But, alright, we're going to tape our hand on here. And now we got arm number 2. And if you're a little kid, you probably don't need 2 lengths for your arms. You could probably get it done in 1, or maybe 1.5. But I'm just doing it this way because I'm an adult, so I got some kind of long arms. But, alright. we now have our 2 arms and our chest, but we need to add a head. So the head, I want to make sure there's enough room. So I'm going to do it just like the torso, but if you have a smaller head, you could probably just do 1 piece of paper. Okay, so we now have a head piece and a torso piece, but they're basically the same. So what we're going to do now, if you were just using 1 piece of paper like this, then you would center it. Let's see if I can arrange this. You would center it on your torso because of course your neck is in the middle of your chest and your head. So you would center it, and then I would do tape here, tape here, tape here. But since I want to make sure that I have plenty of room, I'm going to be doing 2, so I'm just going to tape all down, and I'll probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 on each page and then 1 in the middle. And so we now have our big 4x4 piece of paper for my head and torso, and we have our 2 arms and hands, which are all folded up right now. And so I will be taping these to the edges on here, but I don't want to do it quite yet because I want to make sure that my shoulders match up with my arms when they're traced. So I'm now gonna go have someone trace me. This is the point where it is much easier if you have a second person to help you, which I don't have a person to help me film and trace me, so I will just explain and then come back. But basically what you're going to do is lay this paper flat down on the floor, and then whoever is making the hug is going to lay down on top. Make sure that you are fully within the paper, and then with your arms spread out like you're about to give someone a big hug. So you're just going to have them straight out to your sides, or straight out from your sides. I forgot to say, so as we traced it, I laid down on this part, and then we just adjusted the arm where it would be, so that we knew where the shoulder would be. And you're going to have another person, it could be a sibling or your mom, just someone else, and they're going to come and trace your body, your arms, your hands, and around your head. So that seems kind of like a lot of tracing, but it's just going to be tracing around all your body that fits in the paper. So I'm going to go have someone go help me and do that right now. And then I will come back and show you what we traced. So see you in a sec. I forgot to mention this before. Make sure that you are, that you're tracing on the side that has the tape. So then when you cut it out, the nice side, aka the side without the tape, won't have any lines on it or such like that. Okay, so we are back. I shall unfold. This is our good hand, and even then you can see that it is not the greatest, but also, as you can see, you can do some adjustment. But as you can see here, my arm ended up getting very skinny, so we just kind of adjusted it where it was. So this, I think, is actually the best tracing that we had, but let me show you the other ones we got. And you can see here that there was a couple mistakes made, which is fine. We're just gonna cut out the actual figures. So also, I did this in pen. You don't necessarily have to do this in pen, but yeah, just if you make some mistakes, if you're doing it in pen, just redo them, or like make more lines. If you're doing it in pencil, you can erase and redo it. And here is my lovely torso. Oh, it goes this way. There's my lovely head. And then you can see here, here's one shoulder and here's the other. So when I tape this all together, I will tape it so that my arms match up with where my shoulders are. And then if you come down a little further, you can see the torso comes in a little bit from the edges. But it is hard to see on this camera setup. But, so now what we're going to do, if you have longer hair, obviously I have longer hair, and you don't want a head like this, you could add some hair now before you cut it out, or you could layer some hair on top after you cut it out and do like some construction paper hair on top. I think I might do a little bit of both, just to show both methods. You can also maybe add some ears if you want, or something, since those don't really get traced. Oh no, my pen is dying. Go on, pen. There we go. Merp. And merp. And we'll add, let's see, this is going to be very rough hair, but that's about, that's kind of about where my hair is. You can kind of see that on camera. Anyways, which I guess this defeats the purpose of ears. But, so I think, well, I don't know. I think I am going to cut out my head just like this and then add the hair on top. But you can do whatever you want. If you do it this way, you'll just have to, on the other side, outline where your hair is, obviously, so you don't just look like a cube head or some such. Anyway, so let's get on with the next part, which is cutting ourselves out of the paper. So you're going to need some scissors for this part. I have really big adult scissors, but you can use whatever scissors you got. And you're just going to take your outlines and cut right on the line that you are supposed to. And you can see here I have this extra. My arms were shorter, so this part I'm probably going to leave most of it and it'll just tape on the back. I might cut off so it's like right here or something. I will see when we get to that part. But we're just gonna cut ourselves out. And this is also where you can fix any weird bumps that you had while tracing. But, or you could just leave them all for the glory and enjoyment of whoever you're sending this to. Does not matter. We're just sending some love to some people we love in this time. Now let's go and cut out our hand. And you can see here when I get to the crazy part, I'm just going to cut on only the line that is correct. So instead of going out this way, that's not where the finger is. I'm just going to go straight, and nobody's really going to be seeing this part because it's going to be on the back. So we're just going to go ahead and keep cutting out our hand. And at this point, you can also see, like here I have a big gap in the tape. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another little piece of tape and tape that up. Where'd my tape go? There it is. I'm going to grab just a little bit and tape that gap so it doesn't flop open when people are giving the hug. We're getting the hug. First arm is done. So you can see it looks a little wonky or whatever, but when you turn it over, it looks normal. Yeah. So now we gotta cut out the other hand and our head and torso. So let's get to the doing. Also, I should mention, if you're younger and you're doing this and you accidentally cut like a finger off or something, it's not that big a deal. All you gotta do is just get some tape and tape it back on. And as long as you do it on the same side as the rest of your tape, no one will know the difference. So, this is also really great for paper cutting practice, because you gotta get in and out of all your little finger crevices. Alrighty, and here is arm number 2. Now all I gotta do is cut out the torso. Alrighty, now to cut the shoulders, which I think we forgot to trace this part down, which you guys cannot see. I forgot to trace this part down here, so I might have to improvise a bit, because currently is much too wide for the arm that I currently have. But I will deal with that later. So now we have our funny looking silhouette, but it doesn't matter if it's funny looking. We're just looking to send some love to the people we love and miss. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach my arms now. And if you are doing it like I am and attaching them later, and I think, where did my scissors go? I just had them. I don't need this much extra paper to tape it in, so I'm actually just gonna cut it right about here, and then I shall grab some tape and tape it in. Yep. And we're just gonna grab a couple pieces of tape. We love tape in this craft. It's just great. And tape down our arm. So now we have one arm in. Oh, it's so long. Now we gotta do the other arm. And when you tape your arms in, make sure that if you have pen marks, that they're facing up along with the other pen marks so that they match. And we're gonna go here and okay, we're just gonna trim this part a little bit and go here. This one, this is gonna look real funny looking, but I don't mind. Okay, so I cut off the excess, and we're just lining up with the shoulder, more or less. Bloop. Which, if you just had pieces of paper, then you obviously would have it taped beforehand. And it makes this part much easier, because you just cut out your whole piece. So now we have our full hug. Woo! And we're just gonna give a big hug. Oh, so fun. Now we get to do the fun part. We get to decorate. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip mine over. Oh, I should add, I'm gonna do one last tape thing before I flip it over. You can see here that my arm is separating a little bit. I still don't want to put tape on the front, so I'm just gonna put a little tape loop right here at the edge to stick that down. And I'll do it on the other side as well. So just a little zip loop, and boop, boop. Need one more for this side. Okay, so we're gonna flip them over. Or flip yourselves over. And now you get to decorate it however you want. So you can make it look like yourself. You could draw like your shirt on and draw whatever you want on your shirt. You could write a message on here, or you could make yourself on the front and write a message on the back. Whatever you want to do. I am gonna go ahead and decorate this. My camera battery is almost dead, so I think I'm going to decorate it off camera. Then I will come back and show you our finished product. Alrighty, and here is my final piece. As you can see here, this hair that I made, I just cut out of some of the scraps, and it's just taped on to give me some hair. And then I just made a shirt, and on one arm I made a bracelet. I didn't do any fingernails or anything, but you totally could. Give yourself some manicures. And then on the back, I wrote a little message. I said, here's a hug for you while we have to be apart. And that is all. I'm going to flip it back over and you get to stare at the interesting face. I'm not good at drawing faces, but I think it turned out okay. Anyways, that is this week's craft. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to see your hugs. I hope you make this for someone you're missing during the quarantine period. And of course, how you send this, just fold it up. You can, most times you have these nice fold lines where the tape are, but you'll probably have to fold it a little bit more so it'll fit in an envelope. And then you just get to send it off to whoever you're missing, and they get to have a hug from you. So yeah, if you make this, I would love to see your creations on the COVID chat. And that's it. Next craft will be on Wednesday. It'll be on Wednesday. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.